Well, good evening, everybody. It's Zero, and welcome back to another episode of History Buff Reacts. And today we are taking a look at the weirdest stories from the Olympics by Bulbasaurav. I know Bulbasaurav's got a more recent video out, but I'm going to do that in a bit. I saw this one, and this one interested me because there are some very strange stories from the Olympics, some very weird stories, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he comes up with. I wonder if he's going to pick up on the one that I know, because that one is really weird. But anyway, let's see how we get on. Let's go.
The Olympics. It's that thing that happens every 4 years that I kinda know about, but I never really actually watch. Like, all the...
Can I just make a point of how, like, annoyingly catchy his background music is? I can't stop bouncing to it. It's really annoying. It's good, but it's annoying.
Engagement I've had with the Olympics is looking up the results on my phone and going, huh, that's pretty cool, and then moving on with my day. I mean, you see people wearing team jerseys of their favorite sports all the time, but I've never seen someone wear Olympics merch. But with a live viewer count of, holy shit, 4 billion people, apparently this is a big deal for pretty much everyone else. And to be fair, the Olympics is the one thing that brings people together no matter what. I mean, 2 world wars, literally Hitler, the Olympics just can't be stopped. Except by 2020, of course. Nothing gets past 2020. But still, the Olympics remains as a showcase of the best athletes from around the world, and is truly a symbol of humanity's progress. But just like any other thing in history with a long and storied past, there were a few events here and there which were a lot different from the professional and prestigious games you see today. In other words, we're gonna make fun of some of the weirdest and wildest stories from the century-long past of the modern Olympic Games.
Yay.
Speaking of games, I have a gaming channel. So if you want to see me play some games, click the link in the description. I also have a Twitch. It's the same thing, but it's live. I can't believe these guys would accuse me of something that I totally did. It makes no sense. It's in the description, so click that too. Just click all the links there. Anyway, back to the video.
Go to the links, why not? Go to those links to support him. This guy's awesome.
But first, we gotta talk about how the Olympics came to be in the first place. I mean, it's not every day that you get every single country in the world to agree to do something together, especially not for a whole ass century. The very first Olympics happened all the way back in 1776 BC in ancient Greece. And since this was ancient Greece, they had to somehow link it to their religion, of course. There's a bunch of different myths about the origins of the Olympics, all of them involving strong Greek warriors, a princess who needed to be married, murder, arson, and somehow Zeus always ends up having sex with someone. You know, classic Greek mythology. The Olympics was seen as a form of worship, and the whole thing was done in honor of Zeus. And if you know the Greeks, you know they were obsessed with Zeus. So the Olympics quickly
Zeus is probably one of the most important gods in the entire Greek pantheon, easily. He was oddly promiscuous though. I don't know why, but the Greeks had him as being very promiscuous. No idea why.
became a huge deal for them. The first Olympics had only one event, a foot race, which does sound a bit boring, except for the fact that all the athletes had to compete naked, and their skincare routine involved covering themselves in olive oil. So guys running, I see that all the time. But naked oiled up muscular guys chasing each other in the sun, now that's the content I came here to see. And apparently thousands of others felt the same way, because the event got hugely popular across Greece and the surrounding areas. It became a recurring event, and thousands of people came to see it every 4 years, even though there was just one event. It took until the 14th Olympic Games for another event to be added. And can you guess what this totally new and creative sport was? You guessed it, it was another race. But this time it was twice as long. So if you thought there weren't enough naked, oiled up muscular guys chasing each other, the Greeks have you covered. As the games progressed, more and more sports and events were added, and the number of spectators also kept increasing. Throughout these games, men were the only ones allowed to watch or participate, and women were completely banned from these games. And if a woman was caught trying to sneak her way in, they'd just fucking kill her. Which might seem a bit excessive, but then again, I too wouldn't let anything get in the way of me and the boys enjoying some naked, oiled up muscular guys.
Jesus Christ. Oh man, that's extreme though. Any women going into the Olympics at that time killed? Oh, that's extreme. I'm a bit scared of this rendition of the muscular guy though. That's like the what's his name? Michelin Man? Michelin Man? think it was the Michelin Man. Yeah, it looks like the Michelin Man, which is a bit strange. But whatever. You get in the way of Bulbasaurav and his naked hold-up muscle, guys, you're going to get stabbed anyway.
One of the more popular sports that was later added to the event was one called pancration. Have you ever been watching boxing or wrestling and thought, this just isn't gory enough? I mean, gloves, a soft stretchy ring, a referee and rules. I didn't know I was watching fucking Barbie in the Dream House. Where's the permanent physical damage? Where's the chance of going into a coma forever? If I'm paying $50 a month for cable, I better at least see someone die on live TV. If you've ever had any of these thoughts, please consider therapy. But if you're American and can't afford it, the Greeks have you covered. Pancration was kind of a mix between wrestling, boxing, fist fighting. It was pretty much a free-for-all with barely any rules. You could punch, kick, choke, 360 no-scope, body slam, rip their head off. Pretty much anything was allowed. And the only rules were that you shouldn't bite your opponent or gouge their eyes out. The fact that they actively have to prevent people from gouging each other's eyes out should tell you all you need to know about the sport.
Wow.
So as you can tell, the ancient Olympics were basically a gorier and more nudity-filled version of today's Olympics, and they went on for a long time. In total, the ancient Greeks held around 293 consecutive Olympics over the course of the civilization. Wars, disease, the collapse of time entirely, everything was put completely on hold for the games. A truce was called for 3 months every 4 years. No attacking or sieges were allowed, no weapons were allowed anywhere near the games. It was actually a pretty progressive idea of peace, especially during a time when everyone's favorite pastime was apparently attacking their neighbors. But after 1,000 long years of this tradition, it finally ended when the new leader of Rome, which Greece was taken over by, Theodosius I, outlawed all of what he considered to be pagan festivals, and this included the Olympics, which was all about Zeus.
I didn't remember that he was the one that banned the Olympics. I knew that he'd basically banned anything that was considered like an indigenous festival, like a pagan festival. I wasn't aware that the Olympics came under that umbrella. But as he said, yeah, it was technically in honor of Zeus, so I suppose technically it would count, I guess. Yeah, I'm loving this video so far though. There's a lot of information in this that I didn't expect to be in here. 293 games in the entirety of the Greek civilization. Well, in the ancient Greek civilization. That's a lot of games. And the 3 months truce, I'm pretty sure I've read at some point that one of those truces actually got broken. At least one got broken. I can't remember off the top of my head though. I'm sure that's happened though. And it did not end well for the people who broke the truce. Because not only did the one side who broke the truce get into a lot of trouble with Greece, the other city-states were a bit like, this is a truce, bitch. Don't be breaking truces. And they just joined in with the Greeks and kicked the shit out of them. I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to try and find that source. If I find the source, it'll be somewhere on the screen, or it might be in the description. If I can't find it, then feel free to call bullshit, because I generally don't remember off the top of my head right now.
But to be fair, even without all the Greek god stuff, I don't really think a devout Christian would be the biggest fan of naked, oiled-up, muscular guys.
That's true.
And so, the ancient Olympics ended, and the world never got to see another sporting spectacle like it again. Or at least it wouldn't until more than 1600 years later, in 1896. This rich Greek guy, Evangelos Zappos, wrote to the king with his new idea to restart the Olympic Games, just like the good old days. The king was like, fine, but you're paying. With Zappos' help, Greece was able to organize the first revival of the Olympics in a long time. But these games weren't the same Olympics as we have today. That only happened when this French guy, after watching one of these games, decided to start the International Olympic Committee in 1890. 6 years later, the very first Olympic Games took place in Athens, and around 80,000 people showed up for the opening ceremony. It was an explosive start to a recurring tradition that would last until the present day. But although most of the Olympics were carefully planned and meticulously organized, hosting an international event is pretty difficult. I know, what a shocker. And there's bound to be a few mistakes along the way. One of these happened during the 1988 Olympics in Seoul. Someone had the bright idea to release a bunch of doves during the opening ceremony.
Oh, God,
what a great way to represent peace and unity, and everyone in the audience getting shit on by a flock of birds. They really didn't think this one through, did they? So it's the day of the ceremony and everything seems to be going smoothly. They release the doves, peace and unity, you get the point. That was until it was time to light the ceremonial Olympic torch. You see, the torch is this huge bowl-shaped structure that's flat at the top, and birds apparently really like to sit on flat surfaces. This normally wouldn't be a problem, except that this particular flat surface was going to be lit on fire. I think you can piece together what happens next.
Yeah.
그런 그 쟁반을 타고 이제 올라가는군요. 점화됐습니다. 역사적인 순간.
Yeah.
감격적인
I remember
순간입니다.
Yup, those are some unsuspecting birds, and that's someone about to burn said unsuspecting birds to the death. From that day onwards, the Olympics banned the use of doves in their ceremonies. Guess you could say that all those Olympic doves got fired. Then we also have the 2016 Rio Olympics. I mean, this thing was a real shit show from the start. Athletes were apparently kidnapped and robbed, human body parts were found on the beaches where they were supposed to have their volleyball matches, the pools were green, and all of this was happening while the Zika virus was spreading through South America. We also have the workers who built the stadiums, who were underpaid and forced to finish the construction as quickly as possible. And there were also reports that Brazil was building walls to hide all the poor people from the tourists who were visiting. It's kinda like pushing all your trash under the bed when guests come over, except instead of trash, it's actual living humans. Overall, not exactly the best idea to tell a country with a 20% poverty rate to spend $13 billion with a B dollars on a fancy stadium.
Yeah, I remember when this, when the story first started coming out, I was suspicious of them because I thought it was just like a bit of a smear campaign. It turns out they were completely true. This happened. Everything happened, and it is madness to think that they actually happened. For what is supposed to be an event to bring the world together in this mass sporting event, and you're just... You're basically sweeping everything under the carpet and hoping that nobody notices. Like, why? Why would you do this?
Now for the last segment of the show, it's called Why the Fuck Was That in the Olympics? The show that'll make you go, why the fuck was that in the Olympics? Our first contestant is the age-old tradition of pigeon shooting. You ever watch the Olympics and think, damn, I am really in the mood for some animal abuse right now? Well, look no further than the 1900 Summer Olympics. I guess they thought that the normal shooting the target events were a bit too boring. So instead, they decided to release live pigeons into the sky which the competitors had to shoot. The winner was the person who killed the most birds. In total, around 300 birds were killed during this event, and as expected, a lot of people were pretty unhappy about this. From then on, the event was never included in the Olympics, and the live pigeons were instead replaced by clay ones. Which, I mean, I don't know why you guys hate pigeons so much. I mean, the targets are right there, you can just use those, it's not that hard. Next we got the event known as plunge for distance. When you were a kid, did you ever lay face down in a swimming pool pretending to be dead in hopes that someone would notice? Well, I guess someone looked at that and thought, that should be an international competition. As the name suggests, in this sport, all you gotta do is jump into the water and just stay there. Yep, this is peak athletic performance, guys. It doesn't get better than this. Your performance was measured by how still you could be, which might seem hard at first glance, but he's actually burning a whole 50 calories an hour doing this. Unsurprisingly, the event was soon scrapped, both for the organizers and the audience's sake. One more weird sport from the Olympic past was the event known as...
I'm surprised nobody died doing that. You know how competitive some Olympic athletes can be. I'm surprised nobody died. Unless they did, and it's just not covered. Who knows?
Solo synchronized swimming. Now, normal synchronized swimming involves a bunch of swimmers all swimming in sync with each other, and actually takes a lot of skill and practice to pull off properly. Now imagine the same thing, except instead of a whole team, you only have one swimmer in the pool, and you've got yourself some solo synchronized swimming. Now, it is pretty hard to be in sync with your teammates when you have no teammates, but I guess this was something that the organizers thought of only after the Olympics had already happened. Surprisingly, this was an event in 3 consecutive Olympics from 1984 to 1992, until someone at the organization finally noticed that you can't exactly have synchronized swimming without the synchronized. Well, at least the solo swimmers in the Olympics now had a fancy new job title. So yeah, that was the origins of the Olympics and a few weird stories from its long history. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, and watch another video by clicking right here. I'll see you guys later.
smartest idiot in Indian history. That sounds interesting. But I've got another video to do before that one, so you're going to have to wait. They didn't come up with the story that I thought they were going to come up with. It's... yeah. It was... am I really that knuckleheaded that I've forgotten it? No. Sorry. Fucking my brain is not working at the moment. Holy shit. No, it was the pigeon one. I just remembered it differently. No, that is the pigeon one. Yeah, using live pigeons, and it was an absolute massacre. Oh my god, I need to wake up a little bit. I need to wake up a little bit before I record any more videos. Oh, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you support Bulbasaurav. He's an awesome YouTuber. He's growing pretty quick. I can grow a little bit more. And go and support him. His videos are great. We'll be doing another one of his videos next week. Or this week, depending when this video goes out. But yeah. He's good. He's very good.